Howdy, Jacket fans, and welcome to the Yellow Jacket Football Show. I'm Carl Gurgis with my sidekick, Coach James Gage. Coach, it just didn't work out like we wanted to last Friday, but we played a pretty darn good Pearland team, falling to them 40-7, and I'm sure they'll be in the top four in the district playoffs.
They're getting better, obviously, with a new coach over there, Coach Gott coming over from Katy Paytow, and I think he brought 9 or 10 coaches with him. So we knew they're very well coached, and they're still learning the new system over there. It's a little bit different philosophy on what they were used to with Coach Tolis while he was there. But they've got good football players. They've had good football players, and it was their homecoming, and they played a really, really good game. And I don't know if it was the case or not, but our kids just came out real flat. There just wasn't a lot of energy, and so I don't know if that was still kind of the linger from the loss the week before, losing a tough game the week before. But our kids just really were flat, and there wasn't a whole lot we could say to try to get them going that night. And so we're trying to put that one behind us as quick as we can, and move on to the next one. It was a good old rear end kicking that night.
Well, that's
Sometimes
true.
Sometimes that happens.
Well, that's true. Ground game just wasn't there for us. That's usually our bread and butter anyway. But they did a good job of stopping Deshaun, and I think quick hitters up the middle, just anything. Really did a good job in that regard, and so it put us in a bind. We got to go to something else, and it was really difficult.
Right, and we knew going in all week, again, very well coached team, and we knew that, hey, they're not going to let Deshaun run for 25 times for 200 yards, and so we had a plan to try to get him the ball in some different ways, and we did. I think he ended up with 8 or 9 different carries, but they just did a good job bottling him up, and obviously they know that as Deshaun goes, we go, and so they took him out of the game, and then, like you said, we struggled finding offense in other areas, but we got to get better. We can't rely on one person, and if Deshaun has a bad night, we got to find ways to still generate some offense.
Well, I thought Junior Braden Griffin had a good night, and also we'll look at this in a few moments. Ryan Marin almost with a pick six, and so we'll get that in there as well.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we'll be back in a few moments with highlights of last Friday evening's game with the Pearland Oilers. But stick with us, and we'll be right back.
Whenever you're ready.
Well, Coach, let's get back and see what highlights we do have, and I know you've got a few of them that we're proud of.
We didn't have a lot, but let's look at the ones we did have from the other night. All right, early on, I think it was a 7-0 game right here. Big play. We kind of got it was one of those borderline blocking behind the ball penalties, a new rule they implemented a couple years ago. But Braden does a great job kind of getting around the backside or getting around the play side and making the backside linebacker miss. And then, he carries the guy for 10 yards. Again, he's a little bit thicker of a quarterback than what we've had. I think he's about 185 pounds, so he's difficult to bring down. But the penalty right there, you kind of see some bodies on the ground. That was one of those could be called, could not be called, but ended up bringing it back about 20 yards. So, that was a penalty that kind of hurt us, but great job executing on the perimeter right there. Both receivers doing a good job, Palermo and Villarreal blocking down there. And then one thing that Braden does a really good job of, and he's gotten better and better, as a junior this year, he makes his decision and he makes it quick. There's no hesitation out of him. If he decides to run the ball, he's gonna make it, get it and go. And he's either pitching it or running it, but there's not a lot of hesitation out of him. So as soon as he realizes that it's his turn to run the ball, he sticks his foot in the ground and he goes north and south and gets as many yards as he can.
His reads are much better now, is what you're really saying.
Yeah, the game slowed down a little bit for him. This was his 7th start and or 6th start. I'm sorry, this was his 6th start, and each week I think the game slows down a little bit more and more for him. All right, this was outside veer, just to the other side right there. Again, does a great job reading it, and then again, taking what the defense gives him. He comes around, their safety takes the running back, so when that happens, we get a great block by the running back up on the linebacker right there. I think that's Isaiah Vaughns right there, loads the linebacker, and then the safety takes the running back, so there's nobody left for the quarterback besides the backside safety. But again, Braden gets around the corner, sticks his foot in the ground, and then there's not a lot of wiggle out of him. He's going to run and get as many yards as he can. So again, one of the few positive plays we had the other night. All right, this time they do take the quarterback, and we do a great job getting the block on the perimeter there, gets it pitched to Isaiah Vaughns. Cole Ernst gets a great block on the safety right there, gets him to come underneath him, and then Joseph Palermo out there, all 5'6", 135 pounds of him. He battles out there, but He understands how to set up blocks and use leverage to his advantage. So he does a great job setting up his block and then holding his block and allowing us to get about a 15 or 20 yard play. And we work close a couple times to pop in the big play. You know, it looks right here like you may have an opportunity to score, and then they just kind of get us down at the knees. But I think we ended up missing about a 42-yard field goal on this drive, but got ourselves down in a position to score. Would have made it a 7-7 or 7-3 game, but instead, you know, we missed the field goal, and then it was 7-0. But again, good job executing the option, and then just taking what the defense is going to allow us to take.
He's pretty quick.
He is. He's one of our faster kids. And so we, you know, he against Beaumont United a few weeks ago, he had 130 yards rushing. So he's got a lot of ability. We just got to find ways to get him the ball some. All right, this was a play we actually, my offensive coordinator went up to Air Force this last year and met with their offensive coaches, and we kind of stole this scheme from them. It's just a little inside zone play, but it's a way to get Deshaun the ball without having to read it. And so, you know, this was his biggest play of the night, really his only big play of the night. But, you know, he breaks one tackle, then gets in the open field. You kind of just hold your breath because you expected that big play to happen to each game. But, again, credit Pearland. They tackled him when they needed to tackle him, and they didn't allow him to bust free. And you know, I talked to Coach Scott after the game, and he said his message to their team was they've got to tackle number 35. They've got to tackle number 35, and they did a good job tackling him all night. All right, moving over to the defensive side of the ball. This was fourth quarter right here. Great job by, Trevor Yarborough filling in the hole right there. Manny Hernandez coming through, also getting in on the tackle right there. You know, just, I don't know what the down and distance was from this angle, but you can see whoever that is, Razzo eats up a double team right there and then allows Manny Hernandez just to break free and a smooth hit on the quarterback, and then Marin gets there to kind of on the running back. And then Yarborough gets there to finish it up right there.
A lot of white on the play.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. And they were really, really good offensively. Big up front. They had two really good running backs. So, you know, we struggled kind of stopping them a little bit, but one of the few positive plays we had from the other night. All right, so kind of got the quarterback out of a rhythm right there. We did a great job backing it up, you know, on the back end, covering everything up and making him go to his next read, and got him out of the pocket. And we felt like if we could get him out of the pocket, you know, we could possibly have some good plays. So we get him out of the pocket. He you know, credit him. He tried to extend the play as long as he can, but he actually steps out of bounds on about the 43-yard line right there. So ended up being about a negative 10-yard play for him. So good job by Liam Binger right there, just kind of breaking down and forcing him to throw and not allowing him to run right there. He gets out of the pocket, and Binger kind of takes an angle, and then you just kind of see, just kind of gets in front of him. You got, who was that? Anthony Contreras, Big Anthony, number 98, on the pursuit too, trying to chase him down. So good effort out of those guys, and a good job not allowing the quarterback to run right there. All right, so this was the almost pick six you said a while ago. Ryan Marin Jr. does a great job slipping underneath the fullback in the flat. And 24 was probably the fastest person on the field. So if 24 wasn't on the field, I think he probably scores. But, you know, credit 24 for not giving up on the play. But, you know, just a good job by Marin being where he's supposed to be, reading the eyes of the quarterback, and then making the interception. You know, we've dropped some interceptions this year, so we've been preaching to our kids anytime we get a chance to intercept the ball, you know, we got to take advantage of it. But, you know, one of the most impressive things I think on this play is if you look in the background as he's running down the sideline, you'll see our mascot Sting just high-stepping it. And that, you know, as a mascot in a uniform, you see his little legs going right there. You know, that's pretty impressive for a mascot.
It sure is, with all that uniform.
So we may have to figure out who's in there and see if he wants to play
probably,
football for us.
That's right. You can probably put him on a uniform this Friday night. I'm sure he'll remind his grandchildren that he He probably scored, but they really didn't get him out of bounds.
You know, 20 years from now, I think that ball probably crosses the
Across
end
the
zone.
goal
Yeah,
line.
it crosses the goal line.
Well, we did have some highlights in it, and I know that, like you said, Pearland's a good ball club. They're going to be there. They're going to be at the end. We've just got to continue to improve.
Right. So, we're heading in the right direction, and one of the things that we're continuing to try to do is get people excited about Alvin football again. And last night we were able to host our first annual Alvin football alumni dinner. And Brooke Honore, he catered the dinner for us. We had almost 45 alumni represented. We had class of 1951 all the way to 2025 there.
51, that's before you were born.
A couple years before I was born, but so 74 years worth of Alvin Jacket football players were represented there. So that was a really neat deal, and everybody that I talked to is just, they're excited about Alvin Jackets again,
good.
and that's one thing that I've tried to do, and these coaches have tried to do, is bring some excitement back to this program. So even though last Friday night was a tough loss for us, I think it was fun for our kids to get to experience that dinner last night and kind of interact with some of those old timers and share some stories.
Well, we're a 4-school school district, but we're still in Alvin, one town.
Right, and
I think
everybody
that's
still
important.
rallies around the Alvin Yellow Jackets.
That's right. That's exactly right. Well, good idea, great opportunity, and I'm glad you did that. Friday night we've got Shadow Creek, so it doesn't get a lot easier, does it?
They're pretty good. They're pretty good. They are. They're well coached. Coach Butler obviously does a great job over there, but they've just got so much team speed. They're big. They're physical. But we played them close last year. It was a 20-13 game with about 3 minutes to go in the first half last year. So we're going to show up Friday night, and we're a little bit banged up, but it's an opportunity for some kids to get the opportunity to play, and we're going to go play them as hard as we can, as long as we can, and see what happens. So
7 p.m. kickoff, Memorial Stadium. So we'd like to see a lot of fans there, and I think what you did with the community, I think that's going to help put a few fannies in the seats as well. So
right.
good job.
We've got great support here, and that's one thing that really attracted me to this job, was just the community support. So we're expecting another good crowd Friday night and great weather, and we hope that we can put on a good show for them.
Well, you've heard the coach. Great weather, good crowd. Let's see what we can do Friday night against Shadow Creek. I'm Carl Gurgis, along with my sidekick coach. Coach, we'll see you next week, and good luck against Shadow Creek this week. Okay?
I appreciate it, Carl. Jacket pride never dies.